If you try to talk with sincerity about issues that largely affect women, often at the hands of men, there are a lot of parameters that get imposed on that conversation that tell us how we're allowed to talk about it, with what tone. And if you step outside of those parameters, if you use the wrong tone, if you focus on inconvenient things, then you get morally chastised. So this is a horrible, mean, bad woman is really a response to the moral chastisement of women. All right, I'm horrible, I'm mean, and I'm bad. And I'm still breathing and talking.
Yes.
Now what? Now what do you
Now what?
Yes.
And they don't know what to do with you.
Welcome to the Audacity, a safe space for horrible women everywhere.
Woohoo!
And especially for our favorite horrible woman, Sarah, whom we're having on the show today to help teach us all about how to be a horrible woman. We have a whole list of questions for her that I'm so excited to have her answer. So that will be our main topic of discussion. So please stick around for that. That will come after we have all of our tea. I am joined today with my amazing co-host, the Sovereign Woman, and you may know me as YV Edit, but I also go by Lisa. And if it's your first time here, then it is amazing to have you. We have an awesome show. And if it's not your first time here, then you already know that. So we have some hot tea as always to spill. We will be talking about David's arrest for the pop star? I don't know. I never knew who that man was. I'm so sorry to that man. But a singer, I think, who goes by David, who has finally been arrested in his connection with the murder of a very young child, like a 13 or 14-year-old girl. We have a video to react to from Alex Cooper and Nikki Glaser. I'm really excited. And we're going to briefly cover why churches have a certain type of insurance. Shout out to Sovereign for digging that one up. That was a fun fact that even I didn't know as a long time, as someone who was adjacent to that whole scene for a while. And later we'll open up the mailbag and read a message from a listener who went from being trapped in a trad marriage to a secret dominatrix to putting her pedophile father behind bars. And we haven't even gotten to the alcoholic pill-popping boyfriend yet. Oh my God, what a teaser.
Wow, I know.
That is some crazy, crazy work in there. So we'll dig in. And for our crumpets, we have a dating mind games segment where we're going to discuss such burning questions as, is being a bad texter a deal breaker? Or is it just a personality trait? Is keeping your options open while you're dating smart or emotionally lazy? And hopefully a couple more. I don't know. We'll pick from that category. So if you're interested, you can join us over on our YouTube channel under the memberships category. And you will get all the crumpet segments for the month. And if you want more than just the crumpet segments, then I am going to pass it over to Sovereign to tell y'all all about our Patreon.
Yes. So first and foremost, we have new TVIP Patreon member. We have Floor 42. Welcome.
Welcome.
And we also have a tea spiller, Naomi. And I can't wait.
Welcome, Naomi.
Yeah. And if you have not joined our Patreon, head on over to patreon.com/Audaci-Tea, where you will get early access to every episode and the show notes. You'll get ad-free listening, our weekly bonus unhinged and uncensored Crumpets after show. So much fun. And priority mailbag, you'll get topic submissions and voting power on future topics. And most importantly, you will get access to our private women's only community and chat channels just for you. So head on over to patreon.com/Audaci-Tea.
Yay, please do so. And as promised, we have added some new merch. We have a notebook available and a couple of zip-up hoodies. One in a darker color for Sovereign, I'm assuming. And one, I think that's like a neutral kind of grayish beige, which,
Yeah.
for me. So hopefully we'll be modeling them for y'all very soon. And shout out to, I don't want to name the username, but you'll know who you are. But thank you for the notebook idea because I was kind of debating it already.
Okay.
So
Cool.
thanks y'all for the suggestions and make sure you check out the merch. But for now, let's spill some tea. And over the past week or so, I've learned my lesson. We're going to go from the most serious topics to the most lighthearted. We're gonna start in the dumps and we're gonna work our way up and out because otherwise the transitions get awkward. Yes, I don't know what else to say. True. We're always on this roller coaster, I feel like, as women and citizens of the US. So first things first, we finally have an arrest for those that have been following the case. I know I have been definitely keeping my eye out because it seems ridiculous that an arrest wasn't made up until this point. But the singer David has been finally arrested in his connection to the Celeste Rivas murder. So all of this comes months after her body was literally discovered in his abandoned vehicle, her decomposing body. That was cut into several parts. The whole thing is super, super dark. And there's a very clear kind of trail of them hanging out, which the fact that we're just kind of sitting here nobody's questioning the fact that this grown man was hanging out with a literal 13-year-old, taking pictures of her, posting pictures of her. I think at some point they went on a live stream together. It said in January 2024, Rivas appeared side by side with the singer in a live stream video on the social media platform Twitch. In it, the pair joke and banter until about 3 a.m. before David laughingly proclaims, "Delete everything."
So he has been found not guilty, but he's arrested.
Been arrested in connection with the murder. They came and got him at his house. So
they must have some damning evidence.
I think they do. His family refused to testify.
I can't. So I'm starting to slowly remember. Didn't people already automatically think he was guilty anyway? Because of the circumstances?
Yeah.
She was the last one that she was with, or he was the last one she was with or something like that.
It seemed like a super clear cut case.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow, that is awful.
It just is amazing how much evidence it takes, the way that men cry about false accusations and false allegations. And it's you had a very clear cut case here and it took them months to arrest him.
Right, that's crazy.
You know what I'm saying? We are not that willy-nilly. I think people forget when they're so caught up in their own misogyny, how much court evidence it takes to actually accuse somebody of a crime. It has to be beyond a reasonable doubt. And so if you were to apply this to a lot of cases throughout time, it's crazy that the discourse is always about what if it was somehow still not his fault? What if this little girl was wanted something from him or seducing him or whatever. And it is just absolutely atrocious, the kind of reactions we have to these things as a society. A lot of people were saying, oh, well, I guess it's good that they waited so long so that there's clear evidence. And I guess that's the only cope I can sort of agree with because I know what it actually takes.
Right.
But I think he should have been in jail the whole time because who knows? So yeah, he's in being held without bail right now. And yeah, I just can't think of any other reason why her remains would be found in his car.
Right.
I don't know. And it just kind of shows that the whole age of consent thing we were talking about the other day, it's men are okay hanging out with extremely young little girls. Even when they have access, you would think this guy's a rising star.
Right.
He's had
you have access to
numbers on the chart. You have all this access to grown women. And yet who do they choose to gain access to? It's children. It's a 13-year-old girl. And her body was found the day after she would have turned 15. 15, she wasn't even in high school.
Right. Oh my goodness.
And that's just all kinds of messed up. So so rest in peace. Really thankful that the arrest has been made. There's, not a whole lot to say, not a whole lot to add. But the fact that, people were still open to maybe he didn't do it. Maybe there's some other excuse, maybe she offed herself and put her own body in the trunk of his car.
Exactly.
It's embarrassing as a society, what the kind of things that we say. But moving on to another disturbing piece of news that Sovereign just texted me the other day, and I was like, I don't know, this is tea. We have to talk about this. But did y'all know that churches actually have to have sexual misconduct insurance?
Yeah.
Like,
it just goes to show how much it happens. Like,
to the point you have to have insurance?
Yeah. When you think of insurance, you think of car insurance or homeowners insurance or boat insurance or whatever. Like a church, the place of God, this is supposed to be the house of God. And like, you need to have sexual assault insurance. I can't like, I can't. But that just goes to show you it happens so much. Of course, I think it kind of mostly started with the Catholic Church, because
it's all church. No,
no. I feel like it's all churches. But I'm saying I feel like the Catholic Church is like the motherboard, the mothership of, you know what I mean? Of like where it started. I don't know if it started there, but it seems like they take the cake, if you will, for the amount of children, mostly little boys, girls, women, the nuns, whoever, that come forward and like tell stories of the clergy being inappropriate with them. And the craziest part is almost none of them ever really get time in prison. They just ship you off to a different church somewhere overseas or whatever, so you can do the same thing to somebody else's kids.
And they just pay out the settlement.
They pay out the settlement. That's exactly it. And I'm pretty sure the biggest reason why they settle out of court is because if they were to publicly like, oh, we're going to make sure he goes to prison for what he did. Oh, I'm going to make sure he goes to prison. You're going to find that the vast majority or a huge number of them are doing it. So that's a way for them to cover their own ass.
Absolutely. Yeah. That's the whole thing of it, is because if these cases were actually going to court, we'd never hear the end of it.
Never.
And then people would know that they are, in fact, wolves in sheep's clothing.
Absolutely.
And before anybody comes in and says, oh, well, daycares have to have this too. And, oh, well, every place has to have this because it's like a he said, she said situation. First of all, extremely disturbing that we as a society just kind of like let that slide.
Yeah.
And then I also want to know, because like people love to like dismiss these things as like
they happen every now and then. Or
they happen every now and then. Or it could be like a he said, she said thing or whatever. My question too is like, what is the gender of the people that's being accused?
Exactly.
Like with the he said, she said stuff. Like, what is the gender of the people being accused?
And just because schools have to have it and daycares have to have it, it still goes back to it's all men at the end of the day. So
that's what I'm saying.
They're glazing over the fact that why the fuck should a daycare have to have sexual assault insurance? Why should a hospital have to have, why should a school? And then the king of the hill, churches where
men are called by God,
allegedly, right?
To be leaders.
That's the last place. That is the last place you should have to worry about that. But really? So that's the part that I want people to focus on. Why is this happening in the first place? Mm-hmm. But yeah.
It's just like that recent Rape Academy discourse where people are like, it wasn't 64 million men, it was 64 million clicks.
Oh, and then I saw it was actually, that was a slow month, they said.
Yeah.
They said it was actually 80-something million. So in the month of March or something.
So what's the difference? What's the difference between the men, the cliques? Some people are saying, well, the actual group where they were teaching each other only had X amount of men or whatever. Again, I ask, why are men teaching each other how to rape women?
On it?
Why are they doing any of that in the first place? Why did CNN have to do like a whole investigative like piece on this? And it's like, we already know, like we just had the Giselle Pellico case.
Right.
Where a man was literally giving other men access to his wife's body, unconscious body.
To be fair, I'm actually shocked that CNN broke the story because in my mind, and this could be delusional of me, I don't know. In my mind, these major networks would try to cover something like that up. Like they would they wouldn't want us to know just how bad so many men in the world are, because their narrative is always, oh, there's plenty of good men. There's only a few bad men out here. So I'm actually in awe that they even shared this, but that's a whole nother can of worms.
I think that they're seeing, at the same time, they are seeing the zeitgeist. They're seeing that that story is going to get them clicks and views and all of that.
Yeah, I know.
Because women are wanting to be validated. And I'm also like, aren't you guys a little embarrassed that people believed it so readily? Like, aren't you embarrassed that like everyone heard 64 million men and nobody was shocked?
We are being vindicated little by little, just little by little, step by step. It's going to take a while, but you know, the discourse around misandry and whatever else, women have reasons. I mean, women don't just wake up and be like, I don't want to have nothing to do with men for no reason.
You want to talk about that next week? Should that be our next episode? Misandry?
Oh, absolutely. We can talk about misandry all day, every day.
Yeah. All right. Perfect. Well, there you have it. You heard it here first. All right. So we have a video to react to. And this is for those that can't see who it is. This is a conversation happening on the podcast Call Her Daddy between Alex Cooper and Nikki Glaser, a comedian.
Maybe it's my competitive nature of like, I want a guy who other girls want. Like, I like something that is like, you know, you want a handbag that other girls are like, oh my God, I'm dying to get that.
That's
like,
relatable. That is relatable. Like, I have experienced that like masochism to a certain degree where I'd be like, tell me about every ex. Tell me about all the things. Like that part of the beginning of the relationship.
Were you horned upward, or were you like, I want to know because I hate
No,
this
it
girl?
definitely like made me be like, okay, now I'm going to like fuck you 10 times better tonight.
Yes. Okay, yes.
but then
it's like showing their value, that they are valued by other women. Because I respect women and women's opinions. I do.
This all comes back to hating men. This whole thing is like men are disgusting and they need to get their boners fixed immediately. And I don't really want to fix your boner, but I love women.
I want my boyfriend to fuck other women because I just love women so much.
That's so fun.
I don't know why this is cracking me up.
The banter is so great.
And we were just talking about this, but I miss when women used to just be able to say funny shit.
I know.
And like not be taken seriously.
Right.
I know I was telling you, but I just introduced my husband to like The Simple Life. They only have season 1 available on Amazon, which is a real bummer. But that show's fucking funny. And like, I really miss when like everything women said was not dissected through this lens of like, is this feminist or not? Like, okay, I don't know. Like, why is it
the good old days, right? the good old days when you could just
and honestly, that was empowering to me as a little girl. When I watched that show and I was like 12 years old, I was like, these girls are cool. Like, I want to be like them. Like, I don't want to be like a good, like obedient, servant-hearted woman. Like, I love that they don't want to do chores. Absolutely. I love that they like, mind you, they had these 20-year-olds working on like farms, scooping up shit and stuff. Like I wouldn't do that now. I'd be acting worse than them now. But people were like, these spoiled brats. Like,
the craziest thing is that I truly believe if little girls and young women were not socialized to be wives and mothers, this is the default. This is just our default nature or whatever. A lot of people try to get us to believe that our default nature is to be submissive and go somewhere and be a mom and sit down and fold clothes or whatever. And it's like women want that, or they think they want that because you've been programmed to want that. But when women step outside, if a woman is herself, if a little girl is just being herself, and you allow her to grow up into her adolescence and then her womanhood being herself, I feel like this is what women will sit around and joke about and talk about because that's how it was before. We used to, we talk about the barbershop talk, the beauty salon talk. Like we would sit around and just talk about anything and laugh and joke. And we like, yeah, girl, I know that's right. We do that now on social media and everything is, like you said, is dissected through, is this feminist? Is she really a feminist? Oh, is she not this? Oh, she's a pick-me or she's that. And it's just like we all kind of look
We're losing the plot.
Yeah, we are losing the plot. I think so.
There just is absolutely, it's like, oh, so now being a woman can't be fun anymore, can't be funny, can't be facetious.
It has to be serious.
It has to be serious. I'm also like, why are women in charge of dismantling the patriarchy?
Absolutely.
Like, I want to know because what am I supposed to do?
Our only part that we should play in this dismantling the patriarchy is to walk away. Like, just don't play the game. You don't have to do any extra work. You don't have to do any extra lifting. You don't have to be a rehab center for a man. None. Just don't fucking participate.
Unless it benefits you. And that's the thing is I'm not going to fault you if it benefits you and you want to participate in it. Because that's also not your job to be like perfectly, what's it called? Like a saint or something. Like That's crazy.
Yeah.
I'm so sorry. Like we're losing the plot so quickly because it's like, I just know like men are pointing their fingers and laughing at us at this point because we can't even sit around and have a conversation like this without people being like, oh my God, Nikki Glaser is such a pick-me. What if she's joking the whole time?
Right.
What if this is just a bit that she's doing and like is just going over people's heads? Because I love they're comparing men to handbags. Like, I'm not going to be mad about that. Like,
Absolutely.
that's fucking funny. That's funny. And we really need to loosen up because the discourse is getting completely out of hand. And so honestly, I think we need to bring that kind of like simple life attitude back where like you do things like even if other women don't like you. Because that's the other part. You have to remember is like we kind of go through this cycle and it's a very sad cycle.
Yeah.
And I hate it because we go through the cycle where women think, oh, we're all on the same page. We're all on board. We all just watched the Barbie movie and we all agree and fuck Donald Trump or whatever. And then, 6 months later, the discourse is, well, I know that she was joking, but this is still completely inappropriate. And what if like blah, 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 somebody saw it and da, da, da. No, I don't want to hold women to the standard of a fucking saint. Just because we all agree that feminism is a good thing and just because we all agree that certain things should be different or dismantled or whatever, we should still be able to exist within that system without constantly being under a magnifying glass like this.
And who wants to be a saint? I always ask people that. Don't you realize if you were perfect, you couldn't make no mistakes. You can't have any fun. You can't speak your mind. You can't do. I would rather be dead. If I can't, like, what? I don't want to be a saint. I don't want to be perfect. If I was given the opportunity, I would decline swiftly. Like, absolutely not. Let me live my life and have my fun, make my mistakes. Let me do it.
Absolutely. And because all that does is like it gives men more ammunition.
It does. And they gonna use it. And they can't wait to use it.
Exactly.
They're itching to use it.
Exactly. So, I don't know. Kind of like shout out to Nikki Glaser and Alex Cooper for just bringing back like normal women's banter. Like men will sit around and talk about crazy things,
Literally.
like absolutely crazy shit.
Like
and
how to rape your wife.
Yeah. Or like how you are going to get a boner the first time you hold your child. That's the kind of shit men talk about. So I am all for, a couple of girls just sitting around having a good time. I do not think
hurting absolutely no one.
It's a victimless crime.
Literally.
Speaking of which, as promised, we will address the MJ Gray engagement. I know it's been a huge topic. And I told Sovereign before we hit record, like that I'm probably going to end up making a video about it and kind of addressing like more of the things around this entire like ecosystem that we exist in and like everything that gets kind of put through that meat grinder, honestly. But yeah, speaking of like women just being allowed to live their life and victimless crimes, I mean, I like show me the crime and show me the victims.
Right.
And then we can talk about the MJ Gray engagement as a cancelable offense.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Because I'm not seeing either thing here. I'm not seeing either thing. I'm seeing somebody who is in fact like raising, if anything, I don't know if you agree with this, but if anything, this is like, to me, this raises the standards of marriage for other women because
I agree. I'm so glad you said that.
She's not trying to do a traditional marriage. That would be, one thing.
And I believe when a lot of us say we don't believe in marriage, we don't believe in marriage in the way that it has always been presented, like the traditional wife, stay-at-home wife thing.
Expectation to have children for a man's legacy.
If you're going to, and I always say on my platform, if you're going to have a man in your life, make sure it benefits you and make sure you're not losing yourself in the process or not loving yourself or giving things up that matter to you because you're doing it wrong if that's how you're doing it. And
that would be traditional.
That would be traditional. And I think MJ Gray, first of all, she's tall, beautiful, skinny. Like I remember I was listening to Queen Sovereign, shout out to her, and her take and what I was thinking, dead on. Like there is no way that y'all thought that she wasn't going to eventually find her a rich man. Like there's no way. Y'all thought that this beautiful woman was going to go her whole life and now that she's found what she was looking for. Maybe for a while she really meant what she said and she didn't think that the men were out there or that, she probably didn't think she would find that. And she just happened to. She's allowed to change her mind at the end of the day. And she's, like you said, raising the standard. And if you're going to deal with a man, especially if you're going to marry them, I say this all the time, make sure it benefits the fuck out of you. Because if it doesn't, you are doing it wrong. You're going to get dog walked, like I say all the time. You're going to get got. And then you're going to end up filing for divorce anyway. And most likely you're going to end up with nothing but a depleted shell version of yourself. And that has to pick up the pieces and start all over and find yourself again. And you know what I mean? And I'm not saying...
And my question is, who would be the victim in that scenario? If all of this happened to MJ, who's being affected?
Absolutely nobody.
But her.
But like I was saying, people on social media try to find their identity through influencers. And it's like, you need to, I can understand to some degree why some people feel disappointed. But at the same time, I don't understand, because it's like, it's her life and she has the right to change her mind. Especially if she's raising the bar. If she's like, listen, I'm not entering into this unless it's going to benefit me. Like you were saying, it's most likely it's a business decision.
Yeah,
and I don't
she's
have
not
a problem
entering
with that.
into a traditional marriage. She's entering into a
child-free.
non-traditional,
Right.
possibly business arrangement.
Absolutely.
That's smart. That you guys should be thinking of marriage that way too.
Absolutely.
And it's kind of like with all these other institutions that women have entered and now men complain that they're not like for men anymore. Like schools, right? Like men invented schools to benefit men, to teach men, to teach boys how to read, write, everything. And now what are they crying about? Schools
there's
are
more
not
women.
meant for
They're not
boys.
made
There's
for men
more
anymore.
women.
Yeah, exactly.
And
literally.
And listen to them talk about marriage right now. Oh, women want providers and women don't want to go 50-50 and nobody wants to build together. Yeah, that's because like we've all come out and said these are the terms of marriage now. And men are crying about it. So why are you guys upset?
Absolutely.
My question
God, I'm
is,
so glad you said
has there been a net positive or a net negative coming out of women having these kinds of high standards?
Right. Women like MJ Gray, from what we're seeing so far, we can't read the future, but she's upping the ante. She's building the standard. And I want women to know, if you want this, because I know the vast majority of women, many of them still want to get married. A lot of women don't, but there's a lot of women who still secretly deep down want to get married and have kids and whatever else. And it's like, follow her standard, if anything. If you don't do anything, women are in charge of raising that standard and make the man know, yes, you're going to have to come with it and set your boundaries and don't skim back on them. Like, this is what you have to provide for me. Buy me a house and then I'll marry you. Put me on, I don't know, 401k or some kind of life insurance, but whatever. Do this for me, do this A, B, and C, put this amount of money in my bank account, and then we can talk. If they're not doing that, then what the fuck would you marry a man for who can't do anything for you? Why would you do that? Love? Love?
Yeah. And this
really?
is what I've been saying. Like, you guys need to stop thinking of relationships as like a romantic arrangement. You're not getting anything out of that as a woman.
You're not. Except depleted.
Like, romance is fine. Yeah, except depleted. Like, romance is fine as a part of that. But for the most part, you need to think of your marriages, relationships, everything, even friendships, in some kind of terms where it's like what's going in, what's going out, because otherwise you're just a sucker. You're just somebody who freely allows everybody access to your energy. And there's no stipulations on that. And there's no like threshold to sort of get into your energetic space. I think if you put up a high threshold, even a threshold, and like I said, like that was the mindset that saved me for the most part, was in fact thinking I'm probably never going to get married. Like I just, had to be okay with that, like as a mindset. And when you think like that, the bar is automatically a lot higher and you end up benefiting.
Absolutely. That's the key. Yes, your standards are going to lead you down a path. When you keep them, it's going to lead you down a path where you're getting what you want. And that's kind of the point. So,
and if you have to tell yourself for a few years, I'm not going to get married, I'm not going to get married, I don't think that's hypocritical. I think that's just...
You're priming yourself to be okay with if it doesn't happen.
Yeah.
You're not going to be as desperate. You're not going to make these piss poor decisions because you really don't give a damn, right?
Yeah.
And that's if anything, that's going to lead you where you want to go by default.
Exactly.
Law of attraction.
Exactly. Yeah. So yeah, if y'all were hoping we were going to shit on her.
I love her.
Sorry. Yeah. Sorry to dash your hopes and dreams. She's been one of my longest standing like mutuals.
Same.
She was, one of my first follows. And to everyone saying she built a platform off of man-hating content is also crazy because she talks about everything. Like the platform builds you. We never know which videos are going to go viral. We never know what's going to resonate. So it's like she, as somebody who's followed her for a long time, she talks about everything. Yeah. There's nothing that
and I still don't think
she doesn't talk about.
And I still think she doesn't like most men. I don't think that's changed.
Oh yeah. No, of course. But I'm the people that are saying she built her platform off of this, which is why she's such a hypocrite. It's like, no, those are just the videos of her that you've seen that have gone viral.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. So anyway,
she literally talks about everything.
So disingenuous. But yeah. Anyways, shout out to MJ. Congratulations to her man.
Did she show that ring? Because I want to see it.
Yeah, she did.
Oh, she did? Okay, I gotta go.
Yeah, you gotta go look. All right, and when we return, we're gonna have our favorite horrible woman with us, and we cannot wait to talk to her. And she is going to help teach all of us how to be the most horrible woman I think possible. That's my goal for the conversation. So we'll be right back. Please stick around. Welcome back, everyone. We are so excited because we have Sarah in the studio.
Woo! Welcome back.
We are just beyond thrilled about this, and we couldn't have you back on the show soon enough, honestly. And we are so excited that you are, in fact, here to teach us today of your horrible, awful, rotten, mean, bad, terrible ways. I think the world could use more terrible women. I've been on that soapbox for especially the past few weeks. And I love that you've been on that soapbox even longer. Like, I love that that's your whole platform. And so for people that don't know you, will you just give us like a quick little introduction? Because I'm sure most people know who you are. But
yeah, hi. Thanks for having me back on. I've got about 12 months worth of new horrible ideas to share. I'm a woman in my 30s who got fed up a very long time ago with the unfair female standards of niceness that we all have imposed on us to varying degrees. And I built my platform by taking a somewhat sarcastic approach to unpacking those for other women. And it turns out that a lot of other women needed that. And here we are.
Amazing. And we are so glad you're here. We'll have links to all of Sarah's social medias and everything in the show notes. So we're not going to waste any time on that because we have got a lot of learning to do. Before we get to our class, we do have a little icebreaker that we have, since I think you've been on here last, that we've kind of started all of our guests to answer, which is, what is your hottest take? What's your audacity? We always believe women should be more audacious. So let us have it.
Well, I tend to have a new one every week. The one that has been swirling around in my head lately as I work on my book is that I think I'm done with the concept of consent as it pertains to conversations about sexual harm. I'm starting to think that that has not actually been a helpful lens through which to view a conversation that really needs to center humanity and compassion for each other. It's turned a conversation that really should be based on the premise that we care about whether or not we cause harm to one another into something that is kind of legalistic and carceral.
Oh.
And I think we need to bring the humanity back into the conversation. I think that conversation often ends up shining a light on the victims, who are often women, and we end up morally scrutinizing the victims' choices when we should be morally scrutinizing the men, because they're usually men. And I think that conversations about consent allow those men to get really pedantic and to talk about their choices in terms of what they're technically permitted to do, what they're legally allowed to do. And we end up scrutinizing the lawfulness of their actions as opposed to the humanity reflected in them.
Right.
Okay. So when I say like hot take, when I say what's your audacity, this is exactly what I'm talking about. Because yes, and book, Sarah,
I know.
Yeah, well, okay. Just a little before we jump right in. Come on.
It's a real thing. It is happening. It will probably happen very slowly because I'm an afflicted woman with very low capacity, but it is in the works. And it has a working title, which is The Horrible Mean Bad Handbook. And it's, I've got the first chapter.
Oh my God.
I'm currently working on another chapter that is essentially a sexual ethics chapter, but the whole thing's going to be done in my usual style, very tongue-in-cheek. It's primarily going to be entertaining, hopefully with a little undercurrent of feminist analysis in there. I want it to be a really accessible kind of feminism 101 book for women who need a little bit of catharsis and to feel like they're not alone and they are not imagining it.
That
Wow.
sounds awesome. I'm
Literally
looking forward to it.
nothing makes me happier.
I
Yeah.
know.
Like when that thing is out, we will be
first
promoting it. Yes. Make us
Absolutely.
a stop on your book promo circuit, please.
Oh, you will get signed copies.
Yeah.
Ah,
Okay, perfect. No, because we really do need that. I love that the idea of kind of sneaking in, the feminist rhetoric with like that exact kind of like tongue-in-cheek humor that like, the sarcasm that just works so well for me. Like
I agree.
I'm just such a huge fan, and like that's really like your niche, and I love that.
I think it's going to be a perfect way to like get women to think about things that they haven't noticed before too. You know how sometimes you'll kind of add that in there and then you're like, you know what? I never thought about that before.
Especially when it's presented in like a funny way and not in like
it's
a
perfect.
women face disproportionate, like blah, blah, blah. Like a lot of people's eyes glaze over.
Right.
But when you say something in like a funny way, people are like, no, wait a minute.
Yeah.
Love that.
Yeah.
Love that.
I can't wait. I'm looking forward to it.
Okay. So, of course, we have lots of questions. Anyone who's seeing you for the first time probably has lots of questions. I love the name of all of your channels, Horrible, Mean, Bad Woman. That caught me like so off guard in such a good way. And like when you start your videos and you're like, I'm a horrible woman and I make content for other horrible women, it just warms my heart so much. So when you say that you're like a horrible woman, like what does that mean to you?
So it's obviously kind of sarcastic. It's an answer to those female standards of niceness, which are unfair and unreasonable. The expectation of being infinitely kind, infinitely accommodating, infinitely patient, and even beyond all of that, the expectation that we are going to prioritize certain things, like we're going to prioritize getting other people to respect our intellect and to see us as reasonable creatures and attempting to rise to the level of men. When actually sometimes I think it might be more productive to sink to the level of men insofar as we're able to, because that's a long drop off. So if you try to talk with sincerity about issues that largely affect women, often at the hands of men, there are a lot of parameters that get imposed on that conversation from the outside, whether it be men themselves or women who enable them, that tell us how we're allowed to talk about it, with what tone, and other people outside of the conversation seem to get to define what the relevant factors are and discard what they don't think is important. And if you step outside of those parameters, if you use the wrong tone, if you focus on inconvenient things, then you get morally chastised. So this is Horrible, Mean, Bad Woman is really a response to the moral chastisement of women. All right, I'm horrible, I'm mean, and I'm bad, and I'm still breathing and talking.
Yes.
Now what? Now what do you
Now
do?
what?
Yes.
Yeah. And they don't know what to do with you.
Yes,
Right.
exactly.
Yeah.
First of all, they don't know what to do with you because we are so used to, as I've kind of been saying in a couple of my videos recently, like women have to carry the torch of ethics, make sure it stays lit. And then if some asshole puts it out, then it's like, why'd you let the fire go
absolutely.
out? And it's the
Oh my
woman's
God.
fault. And so I just love I've been so about that lately because has been this like sentiment of, you can't be a feminist unless you're X, Y, and Z, or like you're not a good enough feminist, or you're not, it's coming from the call is coming from inside our own house sometimes too. And even to that, sometimes I say, fine, I'm horrible. Like, what are we going to do? When are we going to hold men accountable? Like, we're so focused on women. It's like, okay, move on. I can admit that I'm horrible. Maybe other women are horrible. When are we ever going to talk about the real issues?
Absolutely.
And
Yep. Just get to the point.
Yeah. And so that leads me to my next question is like, how do you know you're doing a good job? As a horrible woman, like, how do you know that you're reaching your truest and most horrifying potential? Like, what are some of the things that tell you along the way?
Usually when men switch sides halfway through the conversation. So it depends on the conversation. I always know I'm doing a good job if they start threatening suicide, obviously.
My God.
And they do that at the drop of a hat. My goodness, it's a game of morality chicken where they, start this choreographed dance of, questioning your morals as a woman and questioning your compassion and humanity, and you're supposed to then fall to that and go, oh no, of course I care about that. Of course I care about men's mental health. Of course I care about male victims too. And then immediately concede all of that rhetorical ground to them. And when you don't do that, often what will happen is they will switch sides and become the bleeding heart, pleading for compassion, pleading for, some emotional intelligence. Suddenly facts do care about your feelings all of a sudden.
Yes,
feelings
they sure
become
of
paramount importance. And you can almost hear them weeping through your phone. So I think that's a pretty good sign that it's working.
That's so funny.
I love that. Okay, so when the facts start caring about men's feelings, we know we're on the right path because facts never care about women's feelings.
No.
And, the compassion is never, these men when they're, crying or whatever, or like fishing for compassion, it's usually on men's issues, which only come up in the context of women's issues being discussed oftentimes.
Almost all the time.
Right. So like, what is your favorite way to make a man upset? What's kind of the most direct path?
To disappoint a man.
To disappoint a man. Yeah.
My favorite way to disappoint a man, agree with him about something he wanted you to fight him on. Like when they say, well, this is just how men are. And if women don't like that, then they shouldn't be with them. Yeah, I agree. So I'm going to go tell women if they don't like how men are, then they shouldn't be with them. Suddenly they have a problem with that.
Yes. Yes.
Because they didn't really want that.
Yes.
They were playing games. And there's a lot of ways that you can agree with men. Men will often argue for their own inferiority as human beings. They'll argue for their own incompetence. They'll argue for their own depravity. And when you agree with them, shock and horror.
They don't know what to do. Yeah.
Yep.
It's funny you say that because I'm working on a video now. I haven't uploaded it, but I was going to agree with everything that the men were saying. Oh, these modern women are masculine. Y'all are bitter. Y'all are for the streets. And I was going to say, yes, we are literally fucked up. Like we are screwed up. Our minds are all scrambled. We don't know if we're coming or going. So why would you want to date somebody like this? We're fucked up. Why are y'all
why
still
are you guys fighting
why are you
for
bothering
access?
us?
Yeah.
Right. For a fucked up woman. And yeah, that's what I'm working on now. So it's funny you say that because I know it's going to piss them off because they're not going to even know where to go from there. Like we're literally agreeing with you now, like with everything.
Yep.
Everything you hit the wall, you're old, whatever. I agree. I did. I'm old. Nobody wants me. So like why are we even having this conversation? Why are you even looking at me? I don't get it. And they don't know what to do with that. So they never do. I picked up on that when I was doing TikTok lives too. That's when I started to really pay attention.
Because it's almost like that's kind of how the patriarchy functions, is based off of harvesting our energy and like our reactions and just the exhausting arguments, the devil's advocate, the like completely like logical inconsistency. And so I've really been embracing this methodology of yours because I'm literally like, I completely agree. And I also want to do the same thing on the other side. I'm to the point where it's like I will arbitrarily take a woman's side, just like men do. They arbitrarily take men's side if there's like litigation in the public eye, God forbid. I will take a woman's side arbitrarily. And fun fact, I've never had to walk that back. I've never had to eat crow yet. I have taken women's side ever since the Amber Heard case. I just decided, let me just arbitrarily, just like men do, be like, well, we don't know. We don't know the facts. We don't know the case. I don't think she would do that. She seems like a nice girl. Like,
exactly.
I don't think she would do that.
Yep.
And so at this point, I'm literally like, no, it's like we're fighting fire with fire. And if there's like a man who's like claiming he's a victim of domestic violence, I'm like, well,
you should have chose better.
What was he doing there? It's just the point that I'm getting to. And, you got to read the room. You can't do this everywhere. Intersectionality is part of it. We want to be sensitive. But when it comes to men that are just like plain devil's advocate for fun, I'm like, oh, I'll move the moral goalposts. Like, I don't really care. I'll be like, men should do this. And then in the next sentence, I'll be like, men should never do that. That's fucked up. Like, and then what?
Right.
The expectation of being rational as well is another one that I really enjoy flaunting. Like, be illogical, move the goalposts, be ridiculous, because the need to prove that you are rational comes from the misogynistic idea that women aren't, that gets held over your head. And when you just lean into being ridiculous, like 62 million men versus 62 million visits, you know what? I think it was 162. And I think they had a book club and an organizational structure, actually.
Absolutely. Oh my God.
Yeah.
Yes.
I love it.
Yes, 100%. Okay, so what would you say is like the biggest thing that changed in your life when you embraced this newfound mentality of like, I'm just going to be the worst woman that I can imagine, like obviously quote unquote, but like I'm just, I'm going to take everything that men say makes a woman awful, and I'm just going to be like, yep, that's me. Maybe I am a gold digger. I'm not saying this is what you said, but like I also love when women are like, yeah, I am a gold digger. You're a beauty digger. You're a labor digger. You're a freaking legacy digger. Like, you guys want so many things from women, because one thing that I found is like the more I sort of like flip the standards on men, the more I'm like, wait, we should be asking that question.
Absolutely.
Like, what did he do to provoke her?
Absolutely.
Like we should be having a more double standards when it comes to men, especially when it's like litigation of who he said, she said. I'm like, yeah, I don't know. There's some things that I'm actually glad that I've allowed myself to like take the horse blinders off of, like, women have to, carry the ethical like standards on our shoulders. Women are responsible for morality and like everything like that. And I took those blinders off and I'm like, no, there's a lot of good questions we could actually be asking about like men's issues that only get brought up in response to women's issues. So I'm wondering if you had a similar, like, what changed for you once you like fully embraced the mindset?
Yeah, so I don't think much materially changed. It's not like it changed the material trajectory of my life or anything, although building a platform off of it opened up some really unexpected career options at a very good time for that, actually. But it was a big unburdening of my mind, which I cannot overstate the value of that, because I remember being a younger woman thinking that if I could just reason with men, if I could just convince men, if I could just, model the values that I want the men of the world to adopt or whatever, then I would be able to somehow enact a change in their behavior and in the culture I was living in. And it was exhausting and so disheartening. And I see this every time something horrible like that CNN investigation drops. There's a lot of grief among women and a lot of sadness and a lot of genuine distress and heartbreak. And those are entirely rational responses to it. But then that distress and hurt got compounded by the way that men reacted to it and how women got sucked into that choreographed dance over and over again, where the men are just running circles around them, forcing them to do like intellectual labor of justifying themselves and trying to perform for those men to convince them to respect their intellect and all of that. And you can just bypass all of that and be ridiculous instead. And it is such a relief. I think power is power, and I think there are things that are personally empowering that are worthwhile that aren't necessarily empowering in terms of overthrowing systems of oppression. But that doesn't mean personal empowerment doesn't have value. And I think it is very personally empowering to free yourself from this like muscle memory response to these interactions. And I feel like it's done wonders for my mental health, actually. And I have a lot more fun.
I feel the exact same way about deconstructing from religion. Like the load it takes off of your mind, that guilt that you feel, the shame, the this, the that. It's like I wake up, it's been years now, but every day I wake up, I'm like, I don't have to deal with that. It frees you. It frees you in ways that you would have never imagined. And it's the exact same thing with the decentering men content that we do. It's like once you decenter men in general, you're no longer living on this like timeline of, oh, I got to do this by this age, or I got to do that. You're just living life. And it's so much freer when you're just living in the now. You're not too worried about the future. You may be planning for it, but it's not like worrying you down, and you're not focused on the past.
You're on your own time. You're not on some imaginary man's time. All of a sudden, or his moral scale. All of a sudden, I love that. And I love, the examples that both of you gave, because it really, really is like that kind of just always being held accountable and always being, it's just one of the biggest ways that women lose time, energy, everything. It's almost like a taking back of your power. Like the reason it feels empowering is because you're just no longer, freely just, no, but let me reason with you. Let me explain to you why this isn't true. Let me show you. And it's like, no, at this point, we're going to play your stupid game. Let's go. Let's go.
And we're going to be better at it.
Yeah. And I love telling men too that it's like, you can support the hell out of the patriarchy. And I just love telling them like where it's going to end up every time. Like I'm not beating around the bush anymore with like, yeah, but it, you can't access your emotions, and like you can't really love, and like you don't really love yourself. It's like they don't care about that.
Not at all.
And now I just tell them, you're going to get sent off to war because you're going to be surplus men. You're going to be, do you know what I'm saying? Like you're going to probably...
I love it when you say...
Women are going to become only more hypergamous, by the way. Like women are only going to care about looks and money more.
I love it when that's your response. So you're just going to go to war. Go next. What are we eating for dinner?
Next. Literally next. Because, and it's true, we have a draft right now in the U.S. Like, I'm not even joking. Like, I wish I was, but I'm not. These are not empty threats, And I think it's funny. It's like, say what you will about the Barbie movie. Sovereign and I both love it. But say what you will about the Barbie movie. But there's that one line in there where it's like, the only way to actually dismantle the patriarchy is to address the cognitive dissonance that it forces you to like live in. And that's why I love like creators that just turn the mirror.
Right.
It's literally, it's like a vampire. Like they can't look at themselves in the mirror. And it's like, it just disables men so much to where they're like, wait, what did you say? Like, I don't know.
Yeah. Because also there's no real weight to anything that they're saying anyway. Like they throw all this stuff out there. It's all rhetorical trickery and weaponizing data points and things like that. They don't actually care about any of it. It's all a game that doesn't matter to them. They're not really even invested in it, or like at least they don't really understand the level on which they're invested in it. They don't feel personally invested in it, but they obviously are, because what they're doing is part of like a big coordinated structural thing that keeps women in line. But it's not like they're sitting there going, oh, I really, really care about this. They stop thinking about it the second the conversation's over.
Absolutely.
We take it so much more seriously.
Because of the level of emotional intelligence that I don't know if we're born with it. I don't know if we're social. I don't know. But we just have it, and a lot of them just don't. That's why, we were talking about why we normally, you never do it, but most of the time I never bring men on when I was going live on TikTok, because you will just get a headache. It's literally pointless because they don't,
I would have
they
to
just want to come up there and
to
have
you.
a got you moment, and that's it. They don't even, they don't even care.
And the gotcha moment is going to be like a tired old line, like a tired argument that has already been addressed in the live, mind you.
Absolutely.
Like there's things that like right out the gate, and women who go live know this. You have to just rapid fire. There's going to be always the guy that's like, but what about men?
Yeah.
And aren't you married? You got to address, it's like it's like a little game of whack-a-mole. You play that. And then you think you're going to bring up a man to have an intellectual discussion, being like, we addressed already all of this X, Y, and Z. And they'll still be like, well, why do most women file for divorce then? Oh my God. Like I can't talk about
literally
this again.
Every
I'm
time.
so tired.
Literally
like
every time.
I'm freaking tired. And it's always some stupid ass statistic that like you would just have to think about for 0.2 seconds. Like most men are too lazy to file a damn divorce.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They don't want to deal with the paperwork. They don't want to deal with being divorced,
Statistics that they make up too, by the way, because if you ever listen to Public's lives, they just be literally making up stats. It's like, you just literally made that. Like, what? 99% of all women who leave a marriage get alimony. Like some stupid, And
it's like the reverse.
It's just like, what? It's always the reverse.
It's actually the reverse. Like nobody gets paid out
Exactly.
alimony. That's like the least that's like the least frequent thing that happens.
Absolutely.
I really can't physically bring myself to take them seriously and give them a serious response.
Right.
Like when men are the most hysterical creatures, everything they accuse women of being
Emotional.
is a pretty accurate picture of them.
Projection.
So emotional, projecting constantly. And whenever they throw these bizarre accusations and just ridiculous things out there, I just physically can't behave sensibly, and I have to lean into it and agree with what they're saying, because it's so absurd that I feel like all you can do is just follow through until they're in the position of trying to reason with you, which is very satisfying and funny.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Wait, can you talk me through that real quick? Like, can you, because I feel like I've had this happen, but like
I've had men accuse
I do feel
me
like I've actually,
of wanting to send all men to jail. I mean, I have a broader politic than just feminism, and I lean towards abolition. But, you know, for the sake of that conversation, yes, that's exactly what I'm saying. I think we should put you all in jail. In fact, I think we should imprison mothers who are found to be carrying male fetuses just to be extra sure that there's no mistake. Ridiculous. Although the ones that do the not all men thing, like if I'm in a real spicy mood, yes, every single man, I've never met a man who didn't murder me. What are you talking about? All of them.
Oh my God. How do they respond?
Yeah. Well, they'll either so it's usually very amusing because you'll get two results. Both of them are good. One, they'll realize that you're not going to do the thing and they'll piss off, which is great outcome. Or they have such a low opinion of women that they can't understand humor when a woman is doing it.
Oh, it's just like
that they'll take you really seriously and try to reason with you and take that conversation seriously, which is very, very funny and also a great outcome.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Have you found that it's actually, because I have you found that it's actually kind of hard to get women as a whole to like, I think you kind of referenced this earlier, but like to sink down to men's level, like truly, because I find that all the time, like every time women have like a chance to really make men feel like shit, we only do it for like a second. Like we're only like, we're not consistent with it because I think intellectually we're above it. But like I was, the whole like catching print discourse. I feel like we just talked about this on the podcast and it's no longer even a thing. Like nobody's doing it. Like the girls are slacking. Like I'm going into comment sections and I'm like, the print is right there, ladies.
Oh my God.
The print is there for you to evaluate. And yet you're not in the comment sections like harassing men. I'm like, I really do need us to become more horrible. Like we need to be in the comment sections. Again, I only remember women as a whole doing this twice. So there was one time when that woman set that man on fire, which was awesome because he was being a misogynist. He told her to go back, like make him a sandwich or something. So she set him on fire. And exactly. And so when the news was reporting it, all the women were in the comments like, well, what did he do? How did he provoke her? What was he wearing? And like, he should have been wearing like flame resistant clothing. And then like, they were just, it was the funniest thing. And then there was Sha'Carri Richardson getting like a DV charge or something like that. And people were like, this is a promising young woman with a bright future. Like this is an athlete. Like she worked her whole life for this. Like why would we take that away from her? Yeah. And I'm also like, why would we take that away from her? Because again, at the end of the day, I come back to the like, but don't men want equality too? Because like the first thing that men will say when women say we want equality, that means I could punch you in the face too, right? Yeah, that means we're going to be catching print for the rest of all time. You will never walk by a woman and she's not going to look at your package. You will never be in the comment. Like you better take all your videos from the fucking waist up, brother, because it's never. And we're going to start figuring out other ways to catch print. We're going to figure out the finger length, the thumb length. We're going to figure it out. The jaw, like it's something. Something's going to give, I promise. But women just don't have that commitment. Like, how do we get women to be more horrible, Sarah?
Please help us.
I remember the woman who set the man on fire, and I personally made a video vouching for fire's reputation because I've met fire and it never burned me.
Yes.
And I got quite a bit of pushback on that one. And to this day, I still get the occasional horrified comment on that.
Oh my God.
And I think
I love it.
I actually missed the whole catching print discourse. And the first thing I saw about it was one of your videos, Lisa. And I had to rely on you for an explanation, but I loved it. But I think that there are a couple of things at play here and why that stuff never sustains itself for long. One of them is, as far as the catching print stuff goes and women trying to do like a patriarchal reversal of like the predatory sexual dynamics, there's nothing in it for women. Like men do it because they benefit from it in a particular way that's enabled by the structures that we live in that does not apply to women. So that will peter out. And it also doesn't represent the same threat to men as it tends to women when it's directed at us. That doesn't mean I'm all here for it when we have our moment, but I don't expect it to ever actually sustain itself or have the kind of impact that we'd really like to see. And then the other problem is that I think women do tend to be more moral creatures than men tend to be, not by nature. I think that's a product of nurture. Yeah, more empathy. Women don't tend to revel in the suffering of others, much less sexualize it in the same way, which again, I don't think is a product of nature. I think it's cultural, but there is that divide. Women aren't getting, the fulfillment, whatever fulfillment men get out of behaving like this. So that doesn't motivate us. And then we're actively repelled by it because of the way that we've been conditioned to care for others. And I don't think we shouldn't be. I think, men could do with more of that conditioning to meet us where we're at. But there is also this other thing about the carrying the moral torch, I think you said, Lisa, which I think is like such a great turn of phrase for this thing that we're talking about, where we overestimate our power and our moral influence over the world, where we feel like if we do the wrong thing or if we drop our moral standards or behave badly, that's going to have like these huge flow-on effects that are going to be really bad for the world. Like we have this consciousness of humanity, and it's good to have that consciousness, but actually we are not as powerful or as influential as we think in that regard. Like that conversation about the CNN Rape Academy investigation and everything very quickly turned into women fighting among themselves about whether or not it was okay to misrepresent the numbers or the facts either by mistake or on purpose, like I was doing, because that would make people take it less seriously. Like, no, it's not going to make anyone take it less seriously who already didn't care enough. Like we don't have that power. So I think if you want women to be more horrible, we probably need to help women understand that the world is not riding on our moral purity, actually, and we do not have the power to reform the world, and men in particular, that we would like, which is a bit of a bummer, but it's also very freeing.
It is. Yeah, I was going to say, because the funny thing about talking about like women feeling like we carry the morality of the world is like, what morality? Like, look around. Clearly, men have a lot more power than us because everything is ruined. Everything is ruined, and we can't do anything to stop it. Like we had our rights to our body for 50 years, maybe just 50 years, maybe less. Those were temporary. We no longer have the right to our bodies. Men are in full control, and I do think that that's an extremely good point, that we're not preventing anything from happening. Like currently, we're not actually gatekeeping any sort of outcome, because it is up to men. Like that's why I hate that it's kind of like women keep putting so much pressure on each other to dismantle the patriarchy, and it's like we don't really have that power in the first place. I'm so sorry.
Patriarchal conditioning in and of
That's
itself.
exactly.
Yeah. It's women thinking we can do something about it. The only, like I always say, and we were just talking about it earlier, the only way women can fight this is to not participate. See,
or to only participate in ways that benefit them.
You and other women. That's it. It's gonna crumble on its own head, because there's no fodder, there's no firewood to burn, So it's like they use women as firewood, but if all the firewood just gets up and walks away, then what are you gonna do? Like how is it gonna sustain itself?
And that's kind of the thing, right? Like the threshold for being a horrible woman is actually like really low. Like the threshold, because have you found that? Like obviously, when we say horrible man, what do we mean? And then when we say horrible woman, what do we mean?
Right.
Yeah, it's the female standards of niceness. They are ridiculous and unfair and disproportionate, and no, men don't want equality, but also I don't really want equality. I want equity and I want justice.
Absolutely.
Which is different.
Right. And I think we should try female supremacy for a few years. I think we should try it at least once. We've never tried it. We have male supremacy now. We think men are leaders. We think men are protectors. Like none of it is true. Like on a grand scale, women are the leaders, women are the protectors. I've never seen a man being followed by like a little gaggle of children that he's leading. I've only seen men leading other people's children into war to die. You're a bad leader.
Oh my God.
You're leading people straight off a cliff. Like you're literally like, I don't know. Yeah. You're 18 years old, go die in a war. That's where men are leading children. Absolutely. Like, I think it's time we try women leaders. And even if they do a terrible job, I'm not going to eat crow. I'll be happy.
To be honest, I think the main reason why women, if women were to do a bad job, it'll be because there are men somewhere in the shadows sabotaging it in some way. Or if women are male-centered, which I would think a male-centered woman wouldn't even want to take on that role because she just want to be a traditional wife and sit at home and do nothing. But as far as like, people say women will be worse. I just don't believe that. I honestly think, and I don't think the world will be perfect at all, but it will be far less bullshit than what we're dealing with now. Like world hunger, what is that? We don't even know what the hell that is. Sex trafficking rings? Are you kidding me? Like this shit would cease to exist.
Fun fact about world hunger is that World Vision, and I know somebody who worked there, they don't hand out relief supplies to men. They don't hand out food, sheets, clothes, blankets, anything. They have a rule to not give it to men.
Really?
Yeah, because men will hoard it. Men will try to sell it. Men will not pass it down to their family.
Yeah.
They have a rule that they are only allowed to give supplies to women. And it's, I mean, part of this like huge gaslighting that we live under is that we never talk about things like that.
Yeah.
We talk about whether it was 62 million men or 62 million clicks. And we never talk about the fact that women don't have an online rape academy at all.
Yeah, listen.
We're never like, you know what I'm saying?
Yep.
Like
that's what we need. But see, that's what we need to start doing. Whenever we hear these horrendous stories about men, I'm gonna compare. How many times if you heard a woman, she's the CEO of like a rape academy, or whatever. It's like, no, I'm gonna start doing that because I feel like that's exactly what we need to do. And of course, you know how when you start something, everybody else will follow at some point. They'll follow along, and that's what we need. We need those comparisons because I don't know. I just don't see how things are gonna progress forward if we're not addressing those things that we should be addressing. The stuff that really matters.
And that kind of leads me to my next question is, I guess it's kind of on a more serious note, but like I want young women to aspire to want to grow up to be horrible women. Like, because I do think that woman in a way is like a construct. Like when you say the word woman, you do think of certain expectations. Mm-hmm. You do think of certain like stereotypes or whatever. And so in your perfect world, like if you could talk to all the little girls in the world and give them all like a piece of advice or like a mini training, just like a little paragraph to set them on the path of awfulness and just being a witch and a hag and everything terrible. Like, where does that start?
The path of awfulness.
How can we plant that seed of, just... No, I love it.
I think actually in terms of what we have control over, right? So unfortunately, we can't change the world for little girls overnight. Women have been raising children forever. And if it was in the power of women who had influence over children to raise good men and strong women, then we would have been doing it the whole time, right? So we're fighting against the outside influences. But what we can do is model things for little girls. And I think that we are going to have to deal with the way that we hold each other to the unfair and unjust standards of female niceness. Both in obviously feminist community. I see you snapping, Lisa, like for sure. But also in terms of little girls, like we have to let little girls be safe to say no to us, like to the other women in their lives. We have to make little girls safe to make it known when they are in pain and when they're tired and when they don't want to do something, because the world won't be safe for them, right? But we can start them off with a foundation where they are safe to exercise those muscles and to also get comfortable with the conflict that comes with it as well when that conflict is playing out in a safe environment too. So there's probably a lot more to say about that, actually.
Of course.
No.
Yeah, of course.
That's perfect. That's exactly
But
it.
and I agree with you. And it's so funny because we're just talking about this because I was telling Sovereign, I was showing this. You probably don't know about this show, but if you do, stop me. There was this show on the American channel, Fox, and it was called The Simple Life. And it was Paris Hilton, who's like an heir to the, so you know what it is.
It was big here.
Oh, really? That's amazing.
Oh, it was? Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And that show was the first thing that radicalized me as a little girl. I was literally like, oh, so they just kind of do whatever they want. And then they just like apologize later. Like, I love it. And they're very honest and they're very like, that's ugly. Or they're like, that I don't want to do that. Or like, why do we have to do that? And you could tell that like everyone is reacting to them in like this horrified, confused way because they're like, these are horrible women, but they're really acting no different than like men their age would act, like boys their age would act, because they were like 20, 21 when the show was filming. And so that was my first introduction to like, you don't have to be a likable woman and you can just enjoy yourself, because the thing was they were always having fun. They were always having fun, like regardless of what everyone else around them was doing or thinking or whatever. They had this foundation of the most important thing, though, is that you have a good time. Yeah. So if they were stuck at a job that they didn't like, they were just goofing off. If they were like, you know, being asked to do something and they didn't want to do it, they just wouldn't do it. And then they'd be like, sorry. You know, even the people talked about them as like, yeah, you know, they're like so unlikable until you're like actually sitting across from them and like they kind of charm you. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to try that. And it's worked out really, really well. Yeah. Never regretted it once.
I love that you brought that show up because I feel so bad for what the 2000s put Paris Hilton through, actually. But like apart from all of the big displays of wealth and everything, how messed up is it that a couple of women behaving like the average white guy was such a spectacle that it deserved its own TV show?
Sensational. Yes.
Like what?
That's true.
Yeah. But I'm afraid I took it exactly like exactly how I should have, because I was like, oh, this is my excuse. Yep. This is my blueprint. Like, in fact, this is the only way I want to behave. Because even the boys, like the way that the grown men were reacting to them in the show was so disturbing. Like they were straight up just hating on them. So that would be probably my thing. I would just have them all sit down and watch a season or two of The Simple Life.
And as crazy as this may sound to some people, I would stop buying my daughters like fake kitchenette sets,
dolls,
and vacuum
and
cleaners and shit when they're young.
Only Barbies. I only played with Barbies growing up.
Only Barbie dolls.
And I think that like set me up for success. Yeah, literally, me too. Like literally success. I was like, I'm gonna be a tall bad bitch when I grow up. I never got the tall part.
Literally though, I remember they came out with like a Barbie car seat and Barbie baby or whatever.
No,
I was like, I don't want that. I just want a convertible car and I want a bunch of clothes. And I used to change her clothes and shoes like every fucking 5 seconds. And she had this little suitcase or whatever. And she had a convertible car. And she used to just drive around.
She was the coolest.
And she could go wherever she wanted. And that's what I wanted for my life. And I understood that when I was younger. I was like, that's what I want to do. I don't, but pregnant Barbie, like what the fuck is that? Like what? Are you kidding me?
Defeats the whole purpose of her freedom. Like Barbie was free. Like she Barbie represented something so much more.
I totally agree. But people underestimate how that starts the programming that young. It starts you out that young. Like you got to be a mom one day. You have to learn how to cook, which don't get me wrong. I would teach my daughter how to cook and all that, but I'm not teaching you need to cook for a man, or you need to cook for, you need to be the help
you're
at
gonna
the
be
church
the only
on
one
Sundays.
Responsible.
Yeah, no, absolutely not. No. And if you don't want to do it, say no. Say, no, I don't want to do that.
Yeah,
absolutely.
I feel like there was this real push during, I guess, like my time as a kid in the 90s and early 2000s to try and address that early childhood grooming by just also giving boys little kitchens and baby dolls and stuff. But it doesn't work like that. Like, by all means, give it to them. But It's not addressing the problem because that stuff does not have the weight of the expectation of caregiving behind it. You know,
it's
it doesn't.
completely optional.
It doesn't. Right.
Take him away from the girls.
That's only given to women.
Yeah.
Yes.
I know.
Thank you. No, that's the type of shit I'm talking about at this point. Like, we need to be aspiring to our daughters having the same level of competence as like Paris Hilton and Nicole Richie in season 1 of The Simple Life.
Absolutely.
Like, literally don't know how to do chores, don't know how to make a bed, take forever getting ready. Like, I love that. Absolutely useless. Only care about themselves.
Because you can't be exploited like that.
Exactly.
Because I know someone's going to hear this and be like, well, what's the reason for that? So women can't be exploited. That's why. You won't be able to exploit us. You won't be able to take us for granted. You won't be able to, we're just going to do what the fuck we want to do. That's it. If you don't like it, you can kick rocks. Like, there's nothing you can do about it. Like, when guys try to argue with me about stuff, I'm like, but you can't do anything about it. So, like, what are you going to do?
Love that.
Where do we go from here? Because, like, there's nothing you can do.
I love that. What are your thoughts on that, Sarah?
On raising useless women? Oh. It's fun to pretend, but what you were saying, Sovereign, about teaching your daughter to cook, I do think it is important to have basic domestic competence.
Yeah, of course.
For your own benefit, though. Like, the angle that you're coming from is like, knowing how to cook is freeing. You know, it gives you more power. It gives you more things to enjoy in life. Cooking is great. Food is great, you know, rather than in service to others and everything.
Right.
And also, I guess, raising women who have no domestic skills, who are functionally useless in that way. Like, I'll often refer to myself as a domestically useless woman because I literally do nothing. Although I wish I could do more sometimes, honestly. But the problem is that if men can't exploit you for your domestic labor, then the only thing left to exploit you for is your body. But they do that anyway. So that's part of the package. Yeah. I'm not sure that there's any women being exploited for their domestic labor who are not also being exploited for their bodies. So
right. That's true.
That's a really grim bit of math to do, though.
No, it really is. And it's just like all of our solutions do kind of involve having to sink down to that level. But I will say I was also raised like domestically incompetent, domestically useless. And if anything, like once I entered into marriage, it was a lot easier to find like a fair balance because I was like, I'm not doing it. Oh, what? I didn't do this. I didn't know I was supposed to. Why would I be doing it? Like, you see it the same as me. What do you mean? Yeah, you do it. I think it's also important to raise people with like standards in mind that they're not doing it for men. Like, because a lot of women hear certain phrases growing up, like, oh, when you're cooking for your kids or when you're cooking for your husband, like, or no man's going to want to marry you if you don't know how to cook. Like, I'm really glad I didn't grow up with messaging like that. And that was just never, it's so much of it is the messaging. And like, I'm always trying to explain this to women that, you know, even like sometimes project the messaging onto me. I'm like, no, I genuinely didn't have that. And that's why certain things stick out to me more. That's why certain things I'm like, that's unfair. Why is that happening? Because the messaging wasn't there. It didn't erode like these pathways in my brain. But I think we have time for just like maybe one or two more questions. So I wanted to ask you, has it been hard? Like, how do you cope with the experience of like, I guess like not being everyone's favorite? Like, how do you kind of carry this through your daily life? Like, has it affected anything? Like, has it resulted in a loss of any opportunities, or like, have you gained more opportunities because of it? Like, what's kind of been the practical fallout, if you will, of, you know, just being the worst version of a woman that you can imagine?
I mean, I haven't quite plumbed the depths yet, but I am working on it, and my audience motivates me.
Period. I love that.
If they think I'm the worst woman, then I feel like I have to be that for them if I can. So my content is aspirational to me as well.
It's your torch to carry. Yes.
Yes. It's kind of easy interpersonally because this is how you find like-minded people, usually women.
Yes.
Insofar as you find any men, if they can accept you being this kind of woman, then, you know, that's not the point. But you might find that you're only crossing paths with men who can tolerate you, and therefore you may be able to better tolerate them. But you find like-minded women this way, ideally, in terms of opportunities. So yeah, like we can't always be horrible because those standards exist for a reason and they're not without consequence. Otherwise, we wouldn't be beholden to them. So I have like quite a big following now, and brands aren't chasing me up to work with me. Most brands don't want to work with the woman who jokes about the male suicide rate and talks about false rape accusation quotas and things like that for the most part. So, you know, I'm not going to live the glamorous influencer lifestyle like this. It has opened up some other opportunities in that at a really good time, actually, because I'm disabled and can't work a regular job anymore. So now this is what I do for a living, which is kind of living the dream. Really.
Hell yeah.
I get to just be
an
absolute nightmare on the internet and get paid to do it. It's great.
A menace. I love it.
I love that.
And obviously also writing a book and having the opportunity to make some kind of small contribution of my own to like an intergenerational conversation that did not start with me and will not end with me. And it's worth it. I don't find it hard to deal with at all, actually.
I love that so much.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
No, it's super cool. And I love that like we can always beat the grifter allegations because it's like, what's the grift?
Right.
But I am hopeful that we will like, that this new kind of found consciousness of like women just lowering the standards is gonna actually become kind of en vogue. I do think so. I think we have potential. Like I know Drew Afuelo has been doing this for a long time and she's not without brand deals and we love that for her. And all she ever did was be really, really, really mean to men, like a truly awful, horrible, mean, bad woman. Like we love that. So it's like there is the blueprint is there. There is definitely, I'm picturing like an open door that people just have to walk through. Like my fingers are crossed that the public sentiment is going to shift towards like, we can talk about the two sides of this.
I was just thinking like the thing about that though is that if it gets too easy and too smooth and nobody's getting uncomfortable, are we really doing the work that we set out to do? Because that's the other thing. I know a large majority of my audience, for example, consists of white women. So if things go too long without anyone having a reaction or two, then I always have to stop and go, am I doing this responsibly? And I do sometimes have to upset my own audience as well. That's probably the hardest part. I don't want to do that, but I feel like I have a responsibility to do that if I'm going to be in this space as a white woman trying to talk about feminism and women's rights and stuff. So yeah, we don't want to be too comfortable either because that might not be a good sign.
Yeah. And I love that. That is really important because again, whenever we talk about this stuff, we do have to we can't ignore intersectionality. We can't ignore, like, that's been a big part of my platform as well. And something that, unfortunately also apparently makes me a horrible woman, according to a lot of other women. It's very, very unfortunate because we are not going to see any stage of any meaningful liberation until we can all get on code that way.
That's so true.
Yes. So I couldn't agree more. And so before we wrap up, I just wanted to see if you have any like helpful affirmations for us that we can just wake up in the morning and affirm and like little mantras. I do not carry the moral torch of ethics.
Love that one. One I could probably offer is it's okay to fall short of unfair standards.
Ooh. Bars.
And maybe you should do it on purpose.
Ooh.
I love it.
Okay.
You know, another thing I tell people when people ask me why I don't want to get married, I just say, I'm too lazy to be somebody's wife. I don't want to do all of that.
Yeah.
Like, I'm just too lazy.
Love it.
I'm too lazy to be somebody's wife.
Yeah. I
Love
want
that.
women to become comfortable with saying stuff like that in some kind of way without feeling ashamed or without feeling like anything. Just do it. It starts with how you feel people will perceive you. Because unfortunately, a lot of women still care about what people think. And once you break through that, I mean, the rest of the world just opens the fuck up in a way that you could never even imagine.
Especially when you realize how much that has been slowing you down. That's a good affirmation.
Absolutely.
Not everybody has to like me.
Yes. What you think of me is none of my business. I don't remember where I heard that from. It was some years ago, but that's your business. It's your problem.
That's a really good one too.
Have fun. Have fun with that. Have a good day.
Yeah. No, literally, none of your business. And it's only going to slow you down if you're always concerned with like you know, what are people going to think? There's nuance, of course. And again, because we're women, that's what we kind of always have to deal with, because we don't want to do wrong by other people. Ultimately, at the end of the day, most of us don't. So, well, thank you so much for this invaluable lesson. I know that I really hope a lot of women take it to heart. And I hope that we just become more horrible by the day. I hope that men... you know what I'm saying? Like, I hope that we give men a reason to like actually hate us for real.
Yeah.
Like, because right now it's like, it's so baseless. It's so senseless. We could be so much worse. They hate us anyway.
I would just go
we could be so much worse.
Right.
I'm just saying, like, it just feels like we're really like underutilizing
we're not
maximizing our potential. Yes, exactly. You're not maximizing your potential, baby. Yes.
So funny.
Be all you can be, lady.
Yes,
or,
absolutely.
Or don't be all you don't want to be. Whichever one. They both
Whichever one. It's up to you. We love it. All right. Well, it has been a pleasure having you on as always. And y'all, please go follow Sarah on all platforms. The book is probably a ways off, but don't you forget that's coming.
Right.
That's coming down the pike, and you keep your eye out, because I know I will be.
No pressure or anything. I'm just wondering, do you have like a ballpark of when you think you might be?
Look, my aspiration is to finish the proposal I'm working on sometime this year, which means that we're probably a couple of years out from publication, unfortunately.
Okay. That's fine. I just wanted to.
We need to mentally prepare ourselves for the wait. But that's just so exciting, regardless. Like,
this time is gonna fly by. It's like it's already.
It really has already. Like, we've already had this freaking podcast for over a year. So
congratulations.
That's crazy.
I know, right?
Yes. And thank you for coming on here twice. It's just been so much fun having people on, but especially just, I know we've been counting down to this week. So
I know.
Thank you.
Same. Thank you so much.
You really hold a special place, because I think your content is so valuable. And the fact that it's like kind of like easily palatable, like you're sneaking in the veggies.
Absolutely.
to make it such a well balanced
nutrients that you're gonna need.
Yes.
I'm like,
oh my God, I love that.
Yeah.
What is it? Like the spinach spaghetti of feminism? Like,
yes.
Oh, I love it.
Oh my God. It's amazing.
That's actually really good.
It's amazing. Yes.
Oh, thank you so much for having me on. I've been looking forward to it since the last time I was on.
Yes, and likewise. All right, y'all. Well, we will be back with our mailbag. So hang around and we'll be right back.
Welcome back. So we're going to go right on ahead and dig into our mailbag. Okay. We had to condense this email because it was really long. So we had to do it for time, but we got the most important parts in here.
Should be a doozy. I'm excited.
Okay. So in my first marriage, I played into all the trad wife bullshit modeled to me by my mother and the bullshit she believed in. I lasted 8 years before asking for a divorce and was met with absolute vitriol from both my ex and my own parents. So I went quiet and I stayed. I just wonder how common that is.
So common. That's unfortunate.
Okay, so he wanted me to contribute financially while I was raising 3 kids, including a set of twins. So I fell back on what I knew I could make money with, which was being a dominatrix. No sex, just the game. That seems fun.
Okay, yeah.
And I was good at it. My ex never once asked where the money was coming from. Still don't feel bad about it, by the way. It eventually came out because I had to go to court against my parents, and my father is now a convicted pedophile. Wow.
Oh my God.
However, I wasn't about to give anyone ammunition against me, so I told my ex the truth about being a dominatrix. I knew it was over when he tried to confirm that I was never actually raped by any of these men. He was more comfortable with that idea than with the fact that I had chosen to work with them consensually. That is diabolical.
Typical.
And then we had our 4th child, which I still maintain was an entrapment baby. I love him to death, even though that is the truth. I eventually got my CDL, became a bus driver, and had an incredible female boss who created positions for me just to help me earn more. Shout out to her.
A leader and a protector.
Yes. I slowly planned my escape. He ended up filing for divorce himself after finding someone new and tried to take full custody of the kids and force me to repay a loan that he took out for himself. Thankfully, both of our lawyers thought he was ridiculous and not how things worked out. Our settlement was and still is a joke, but I just wanted to be left alone with my kids so I could care less at this point. Then I found someone who checked all the boxes on paper. What I didn't realize is that his retirement status he was so proud of was actually a disability for the alcoholism that got him injured at his union job.
Oh my God. Oh, baby.
I got stories about this too. Okay. Active addiction to pills and alcohol, hidden well until he moved in.
Ugh.
And the custody arrangement with his ex that he'd framed as being about her convenience, it was actually because no one trusted him. I ignored so many red flags looking back. I guess after being shit on for so many years, I had gotten used to the warmth and my trauma-filled brain stopped smelling shit. My now ex-best friend had set us up and 2 months later publicly disavowed our friendship with zero explanation. In hindsight, good riddance. Here's what I realized. Liking someone is so much more important than loving someone. You can love someone through horrendous things and walk away wishing them well, but you cannot like someone through their terrible characteristics and then just be good with it. That's so true. Listening to this podcast has helped me remember who the fuck I am.
Yeah.
I love that. I literally started my adult life kneeling at a man's feet, and now I have a career that I can be proud of and that pays pretty decent. My potential is endless and always will be. I've created businesses. I've written and published books. I've created communities. I've birthed children and have been there for multiple people at the end of life. I have created sacred spaces out of nothing. I have seen empires fall behind closed doors, and I have put monsters into cells.
Okay.
I may be starting over once again, but goddamn, I'm ready for another evolution of self. Fuck any man who tries to pin me down again. All the love, all the tea. That is fucking amazing.
Yeah, I love that. And thanks once again for sharing these stories, y'all. I know it's gotta be like sometimes just physically painful, but I will die on the hill that I want every woman to share her story. Absolutely. I don't care if you're not gonna leave him. Post it.
Share your story.
Post it anyway.
Yeah.
Because other women will see it, and that is still contributes to the lowering marriage rates.
Absolutely.
Even if that woman ends up defending him, even if she stays married to him, I still maintain that it's better than not sharing.
Absolutely.
The only thing that is worse would be to not share it in the first place.
It's so important. And you know how I always say TikTok was the best thing to happen to women in general, social media in general. But because women can share their stories, a lot of women are like, wow, I'm not alone. Wow, I thought I was the only one. Yeah. Wow, I'm not crazy. And that is so important. And I think that plays I don't know if it's a big part or small part in this like collective awakening that's happening amongst women right now, all over the world. I think
it's gotta be.
I think social media got, something to do with that. And so that's why I'm like, share your stories. And sometimes if y'all ever hear me say, because y'all will hear me say, if you're not going to leave them, shut the fuck up. But actually, still share your story.
I know.
Because even if I'm sorry to say it, but even if you just turn out to be a cautionary tale and nothing more for the next 50 women, one woman, 1,000 women, doesn't matter. There's women out there who will hear your story and recognize something in their own relationship or in their own lives, and it'll click. It'll be like a light switch, that aha moment, like, oh shit, that's what he's doing. I need to get the hell out of here. Or I need to go back to school, or I could start a business too. I didn't think I could because I was dependent on him financially. Oh, she found a job with a wonderful boss that created positions just so that she can make money so she can plan her escape. Oh, maybe I should be looking for opportunities like that. I mean, it could literally be anything, any little thing that can help the next woman. And if we're talking about leading towards a matriarchy, it's the little things like this that will slowly, but hopefully surely, bring women together and realize like we're actually stronger as a unit, as a group, as a collective than we are divided. And so that's literally the whole point of all of this to me.
Another thing too is like, I love that this story kind of shares some of the things that we probably don't get to see on social media, like the fact that she had to go to court against her father and he's now a convicted pedophile. Like, so what do we think happened there? You know, and like,
oh, I know.
Before it's like we go accusing women of like being pick-me's and stuff. We may just want to consider, you know, that there are extenuating circumstances.
There's always extenuating circumstances. To me, there are. To me.
Yeah. It's always a man upstream. We've said this before and we'll say it again. Like any woman that's like male-centered, super pick-me, super desperate for male validation, there's a father.
Absolutely.
There's a father, you know, usually.
Yes.
And it's and he's never doing what he's supposed to be doing.
Absolutely. Listen.
So like
literally. It started with him being in the home and not being the best person, being useless while he's there, or not being in the home at all. Either way, he's not on his part. He's not doing his part. He's not. Yeah. The only time I get frustrated with pick me women is like all of the shit that you should be paying attention to is right in front of you, and you're still choosing to be a pick me. Like, oh, please wake the fuck up. That's what pisses me off. I always say, behind every damaged woman, there's a man. 9 times out of 10. There's a man who, you know, either assaulted her or, you know, left her to be a single mother or beat her or cheated on her and broke her heart, whatever. It's always a man. Literally. Every now and then it could be a woman, but even behind that woman, like a mom or an auntie, even behind her being the way she was, I guarantee you there was a man who was somewhere like who made her that way. So it's just, you know. Yep. And they get mad when I say that, but I'm like, if you really think about it, I mean.
Yeah, like this woman's clearly pick-me friend who set her up with a freaking addict and probably...
self-sabotage. I mean, that's like friendship sabotage.
Yeah. And then probably was like, oh, I did that. Now this is getting awkward. And then like dipped out of there. That's so messed up.
I just watched Cecilia Regina, shout out to her. I just watched the video that she posted. Because I've been watching Girlfriends on Netflix lately, and I've been thinking about doing commentary on it because I'm now watching it as an adult with an adult brain.
Very different.
And she was basically talking about how they were trying to sabotage Joan.
Yes, that was such a good video. Look it up,
with
y'all.
Cat Williams' character, which was like he was sitting there looking in a spoon, fixing his hair the whole time, which was so funny.
My God, he was so funny.
But yeah, some friends will do that. They'll try to set you up. And in your mind, you're like, oh, they just don't want me to be alone. They just want me to find someone. But they won't find you a very good, decent, wonderful man. He's always going to be something that you don't want or don't need in your life. Almost always. Unless you're Sierra, unless you're Normani and Sierra's your best friend. Outside of that, you know. Women who are secure with themselves and they have something good, they probably will be better off at finding somebody for you because they're in a good place.
Yes. Yeah. Because a woman who's male-centered enough to think that you need a man to complete your life in the first place is also a woman who's male-centered enough to like, if she did know a good man, she would gatekeep him.
Absolutely.
She would not introduce him to you.
Absolutely.
So like the only type of man that she is going to introduce you to is going to be a bottom of the barrel.
She's not going to introduce you to him either because she would want him herself, or even if she's married or has a relationship herself, she still doesn't want your man to be better than her man.
What she's got. Yes.
Yeah. So either way.
Exactly. No, 100%. Yeah. So that's really diabolical. And I just, you know, this is kind of the journey. You know, they say it takes a couple times of like going to rehab to get fully clean from like addiction. And it's going to be the same with like a lot of, you know, male-centered women where it's going to be where if that was like a huge part of your life and, you know, your mom was on her bullshit, her Christian, religious, you have to serve a man kind of bullshit. It might take you a couple times because your standards were so low to begin with.
Yeah.
That even when you think you're like vetting and you think you're like doing a really good job, you're probably still not. You're probably still settling for like.
Yeah. You started in the deepest hole. You didn't start 3 feet down. You started like 10 feet down. So even though now you're at 7 feet, you're still below the dirt.
That's not
now
good.
You're at 5 feet. You still have work to do before you get to the surface and like actually have somebody decent. Yeah, so that does make sense. Like the deeper you start out in the hole, which a lot of women start out deep in the hole because you start out being male identified and male centered, like in most cases. for a lot of women, right? You start out because of your family, your familial influence. Your mom, your auntie, your grandmas are all like, you got to find a husband and you got to do this. And it's just like, but
just
if you were raised
influence.
like you, if they're raised like you, like, no, you can take care of yourself. Like, no, you can live your best life. Oh, no, he has to come with it. And they start out kind of like already leveled. Oh, you'll find out right away. It didn't take you long.
No. No. and a lot of it is luck too. And I'm super willing to admit that. And I hate the fact that people act like once you're married, that's it. Like you're just married. Like I will get a divorce. I say this all the time and I'll say it again. Like marriage means nothing if it's not a good situation.
I agree.
It's an arrangement between two people at the end of the day.
That can be reneged on at any moment.
Yeah. And a lot of people like wrap it all up in romance and like all this kind of stuff. And like, I can't do that. I know that that's stupid. Like, I'm sorry. I
agree.
It's kind of like she said in the mailbag, right? Like you can love someone through horrendous things and walk away wishing them well, but you cannot like someone through their terrible characteristics and just be good with it. And when I tell you, I've been saying this, like I've been saying, replace the words, well, he loves me, but he does this with the words, well, he's a good partner, but he does this. One of those is going to, let you go down the path of an excuse. The other one of those is going to just not make sense on its face.
Absolutely.
So which way would you rather be thinking? Oh, he loves me, but he just can't like commit. Or he loves me, but he just, he never pays for anything. He loves me, but he just, I have to do most of the cleaning. You can't say any of those things and still maintain that person's a good partner.
Absolutely.
Like if you were to say, he's a good partner, but I do most of the cleaning, I can't hear that. Like I can't, that does not compute. If you say he's a good partner, but I have to plan everything or I have to remind him or like whatever.
Right.
I'm not hearing you. He's a good partner, but he insists that we keep our finances separate and he only wants to pay like 50-50, blah, blah, blah. I can't hear you.
That's not a good partner.
I can't hear you.
That's the farthest from good.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
You're just surviving. You're not even like living for real.
Mm-hmm.
I just did a video. I don't know if you know who she is. Tina Campbell. She's a part of a gospel group called Mary Mary.
Oh my God.
Yeah, her husband just divorced her.
Take the shackles off my feet.
Yeah. That's how you do now. Yeah. So her husband just divorced her after 20 plus years of marriage. After he's been cheating on her the whole time. Apparently, she kept taking him back, and he divorced her. And I'm like, how embarrassing is that?
And that's that Christian bullshit.
Yes. Never let a man tell you he doesn't want you more than once. But, and I did, I titled my video, he discarded her because she was never going to leave. She wasn't going anywhere. And he got disgusted. That's really what I believe.
Oh, genuinely.
That's really what I believe.
Genuinely. And again, apply that line of thinking, right? Oh, he loves me, but he cheated on me. Okay. Continuously. No. Okay. He loves me, but right. Cause there's that he loves me is doing a lot of heavy lifting. It's like, he loves me, but he just can't help it. He loves me, but he just cheated, again, he's a good partner, but he cheated on me. No.
Yes.
It immediately doesn't work. There's it's 2 + 2 = 5. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because when you say he loves me, but he loves me becomes this like X variable, right? And it's like X + 2 = 7. And you're like, well, I don't know. He loves me. Like, what's X? Like, what are we finding? You know what I'm saying?
It's not going to compute.
It's not going to compute. And so, I hate when it comes to like these, especially like more serious things like being cheated on or like, oh, he loves me, but he baby trapped me.
Yeah. There was a content creator that I featured in my video that I just did about it earlier today. And she said, because there was a clip of Tina saying stuff like, stuff that wives say to themselves, wives like this like Christian, God told me to stay type women. I feel like women tell themselves these things because it gives them an excuse to stay.
Yeah.
And but anyway, she's like telling women, why buy the cow when you can get the milk for free and whatever else. And so this content creator was like, well, it looks like your husband bought the cow, but he was still getting milk from all the other cows. And it was kind of funny. I was like, damn. But she has this like religious psychosis kind of mindset, and God told her to stay. And then she's also a Trump supporter too, which...
That adds up. See, that's 2 + 2 = 4.
But it's even worse. I'm not trying to be funny, but it's worse being a Black woman that's a Trump supporter. Like, you are a whole nother level of just like delusional. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, really? And people got the right to vote for who they want to vote for, but being Black in this country, that's a no. That's how you get labeled a coon. Seriously, because you're no different than the other people who voted against their own interests. But you double voted against your own interests being a minority.
Yeah. It is. It's
worse.
It's the one line with women that I genuinely do not cross. Like, I will not support you if you voted for Trump.
I totally agree.
I will support women through a lot of things. I support women's rights and wrongs.
Same.
I would even consider like a regretful Trump supporter. Like, we can do a trial period. Yeah, we can do a trial period. We can see what you're about now.
Yeah.
And if you can, if you're like educating yourself, like, et cetera. But somebody who just like literally as a woman took a shit on women's rights, like, no, that is the line we don't cross.
Absolutely.
You can be dumb. You can be a pick-me. You can be like, you know what I'm saying? Like, there's a lot of things you can do.
Yeah.
You can be unlikable. You can be fucking annoying.
Right.
You can be just all sorts of things. But I will not. That is the one line I don't cross.
I totally
it's just
agree.
like, you can't call yourself a feminist and vote against women's rights. You just can't.
I don't trust women who say that they're not a feminist.
Yeah, that
the moment I don't know.
Yeah,
I know
that's
you're
a
either
given, for
completely
sure.
uneducated or you're just dumb.
You're diabolically stupid.
Yeah, like there's no other line. What the fuck? Because I do know a lot of women don't really know the definition of feminism, and there's no reason not to. You have a computer that you carry around with you 24/7. There's no reason for you to not know the definition of feminism. But I do know a lot of them listen to the media and they listen to men and red pillars tell them what feminism is. And I'm like, how stupid is that? Of course, they're going to, anything
why would you listen to a man tell you what that
Absolutely.
is?
They're only going to tell you things that's going to benefit them. They don't want you to be a feminist. They don't want you to have rights. They don't even want us to have rights. They don't even want us to be able to vote. They don't want you. They just want you to exist for free labor and sex. That's it. And you are feeding into it by saying, you're right, I'm not a feminist. Then what the fuck are you as a woman? You're a woman. What the fuck are you then? What the hell? Like, you're not an ally. That's what you're not. And I'm sorry, but no. Yeah, I'm just like you. That's the line we don't cross. So people get mad at me too. And they're like, you're supposed to be supporting all women. No, bitch.
No.
I don't support all women because also all women don't support me. And all women don't support all women. So no, absolutely not.
Yes. And like I said, I'm willing to take a hit for like the good of the team. You know what I'm saying? Like if everyone's piling onto a woman, and again, she hasn't crossed like that line. She supports the right things. She's just not a good enough feminist. I'm going to always take her side.
Facts.
Like I'm just going to take her side. Unless there's like intersectional dynamics involved, then I'm going to consider that because I think that's good feminism too.
Absolutely.
But especially if it comes to like between a woman and a man or, two white women, like whatever, I'm going to pick the one that didn't vote against my rights.
Absolutely.
Every single time.
Absolutely.
Every single time. So other than that, I really don't have a lot of disqualifiers for women that I'm willing to support. They can be unlikable. They can be dumb. I don't care. But you can't be that dumb. That's the only thing. Because then when you're that dumb, you're actually dangerous. And you actually are like changing the world for the worse. So.
And I'm visualizing that you're not 10 feet under the dirt. You are 20 feet under the dirt. And it's going to take you a lifetime to get to the surface and you might never get there.
You might never get there.
But before you die. You know what I'm saying? Like you might not ever get there. So it's just like, some people are beyond help in my opinion. So.
Yes. It's very true. I'm doing like a deep dive on the Mad Men series right now. And they have such good examples of that like continuum. Women that are like old guard, current guard, new guard. It's very fascinating. So that's on YouTube if you guys want to watch. But yeah, so huge shout out to our listener. We are, again, just couldn't thank you enough for sharing the story. I think a lot of, women probably have had similar experiences. And thank you for sharing that. Thank you for, prioritizing yourself and just for seeing the light. I genuinely believe the biggest change we can make is within ourselves, the biggest and truest change. So I love to see just women focusing on themselves, pouring into themselves and being like, kind of knowing like, okay, if I have to touch the stove, like to get burned, like maybe I'll just stay away from the stove. Like maybe I'll go,
right.
Maybe I'll go somewhere else, do something else. And I love that. I think that's very self-aware, very wise. And I'm so glad that we, were able to help you on that journey. So huge shout out. Yeah. All right. Well, let's read our polls and wrap this thing up.
Right.
Okay. So this one was from our episode titled 10 Truths Men Will Never Admit. So what hidden truth did you have to learn about men the hard way? So 1 was they fear losing control, not losing you. B was they will waste your time if it benefits them. C was confusion is often intentional. And D was they stay for love, not convenience.
Ooh.
We had some mixed results, but we had kind of a clear winner, I would say.
Was it C or D? Or it was B?
So our Spotify poll, it was both C and D that took the lead. The other 2 polls, it was B. It was they will waste your time if it benefits them. Which, also facts. I think they're all true. I mean, it just depends on which one you had to learn the hard way personally.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so a lot of people were saying they learned all the lessons the hard way. A lot of people were saying it's unwise to start off giving them the benefit of the doubt. They have to earn that. Great comment, great advice. A lot of people saying, unfortunately, I got a taste of all of this from the last situationship I found myself in. Men are enabled by patriarchy to act in this way. All the more reason to operate as such as women, period. And yeah, someone else said, I would love to see women start using weaponized incompetence right back at men. I think it would be hilarious.
Oh, absolutely.
Totally agree. All right. So as always, our recommendation for y'all is our guest, a horrible, mean, bad woman. And I also highly suggest that y'all support her over on Patreon. We as creators do not make a lot of money on these platforms, contrary to people's popular opinion. So I know that Patreon support is how a lot of creators are able to sustain themselves. So we have Sarah recommended on ours. Make sure you go support her. Make sure you go follow White Woman Whisper. She's one of our recommendations as well on Patreon. And I think we also have recommended Cecilia Regina, or Dr. Cecilia Regina. So make sure you go check them out. Those are our standing recommendations. And next week, we will be back to talk about why Misandry is not real. So come and see the mythical creature of Misandry for yourself. We'll see you then. Bye.